Hello, my name is Daniel Mart. I'm going to be doing another video this week, another discussion topic. As you guys might have seen in one of my more recent videos, I'm going to be doing this every week now. Just a discussion topic on whatever comes to my mind that involves the film industry, I guess, whether it be a story time type of thing about my experience on a film or acting tips or whatever. I kind of want to do this a bit more consistently and bring this back. Hope to bring this back. I'm going to do something from my past, another acting tips video, and this one's actually going to be around acting reels. What are they, and 5 tips you need to know to make an acting reel. And part of the reason I want to do this video specifically is because I'm actually right now I'm in the process of remaking my own acting reel, so I kind of just want to give advice on that right now. Also because the last video I did, excluding the update video, the last video I did, I talked about headshots and my general thoughts on headshots. And since I basically bashed headshots for about 10-15 minutes straight and said how acting reels in general are just a better show marketing tool for an actor, I thought, you know what, it's fair to just do a video based on that. So here we are. Now, first off, what is an acting reel? That's the real question to begin with. What is an acting reel? And basically, an acting reel is about a 2 to 3 minute video showcasing what you can do as an actor. Now, a lot of actors typically separate this between several different reels. So you usually have your main reel, but you can also have a dramatic reel, a comedy reel, a stunt reel, whatever reel you think that will benefit you most as a professional in the industry. Now, for me personally, I'm actually currently in the process of making 3 different reels. My overall general acting reel, my dramatic reel, and my comedy reel. And because I've finally gotten to the point where I can make a comedy reel, because I finally have enough acting credits and acting footage of me doing comedy parts to make an acting reel. And honestly, that's kind of been a mini goal of mine for the past couple of years now, ever since I really started investing time in making an acting reel, if that makes sense. So now that we got that out of the way, what are the 5 tips that I think you should take into account when making an acting reel? So the first tip I have is put your contact information in your acting reel. Whether it be yours or that of your agents, you should always have your contact information in your reel. Simply put, it's actually kind of amazing how many people don't put their contact information in an acting reel, at least the email. It's just, you're sending this out to casting directors, producers, agents, etc. in hopes of you getting casted in a part, or at the very least getting an audition, and yet you don't put any kind of contact information in the reel. And it's something that I've actually noticed, me myself as a casting director and a director producer on several films myself. It's something I've noticed a lot, which I always kind of find funny. And I think the logic is the fact that I submitted my reel through my email, so you could literally just respond back. And you know, common sense, that makes sense. But hey, sometimes common sense is not there, and I've seen actors not get contacted back for a role because they did not put their contact information in the reel, even if they emailed it themselves and all that, you know. Simply put, sometimes producers, directors, casting directors, we're lazy. We don't care to do all that hassle, so we just won't bother if you're not gonna give us the contact information. Again, sucks, but it's a lot more surprising than you think. So the next tip I want to talk about is actually the length of your acting reel. Now, I did touch upon this earlier in the video, but generally speaking, you want to keep it between 2 and 3 minutes long. That's honestly the sweet spot of how long an acting reel should be. Basically, it comes to attention span. Casting directors, producers, they usually get numerous submissions when it comes to a project that they're currently casting, currently working on. So we don't have time to look at your reel that's like 5-6 minutes long. You know, we don't have time for any of that. We want to keep it short, sweet, 2 to 3 minutes, and that's honestly the sweet spot. In those 2 to 3 minutes, we should understand who you are as an actor, what you can do as an actor, and what your types are, your typecast. We don't need a 6, 7, 8 minutes reel on who you think you are. And trust me, and I've actually been there myself. I think one of my my very first acting reel was like a good 5 to 6 minutes, if I'm not mistaken. So like, you know, I'm not at fault. Again, that was a very beginner, to be fair. That old acting reel was something else. It really wasn't an acting reel, if I'm being honest, but it is what it is. But yeah, just keep it between 2 and 3 minutes and you should be golden. So the next tip I want to give is, when it comes to the footage, you're selecting the scenes that you are selecting, make sure that it's scenes that revolve around you, that showcase what you can do as an actor. It's something that kind of surprises me sometimes, how often I'll see footage in an acting reel that doesn't revolve around the actor that it's for. And I'm not saying you have to speak throughout the whole scene. It could literally just be facial reactions, going, like stuff like that. It doesn't matter. But we want to see who you are as an actor. Now, that's not to say that you can't have other actors in the scenes. Most scenes, it's usually two actors bouncing back and forth with the dialogue. But we want to see what you can do as an actor. If you're submitting for a role, and this is your reel, let's say John submits his reel, and in his reel, there's a whole clip of Mary acting, giving this big monologue. I don't know who John is as an actor at that point. I know who Mary is as an actor, but I don't know who John is as an actor. And yes, that's one clip, but think about it. That's one clip in about a 2 to 3 minute reel. And most clips average are about 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, I probably know more about Mary as an actor than I know who John is as an actor, if that makes sense. So make sure that the scenes you pick focus around you and what you can do. So when you're selecting the scenes, the other thing that you need to take into account is the actual quality of the footage. And I don't mean if like the scene is like badly written, although to be honest, if it's a badly written scene, it probably shouldn't be in your reel in the first place unless you're like acting the shit out of it, but that's besides the point. But what I mean by bad quality is if the audio or the actual visuals, the graphics are not there, don't add it. If for whatever reason the footage is on like 360p, don't add it because it's just going to be blurry. We don't want to see blurry footage. We don't want to see footage that's out of focus. We don't want to see footage or hear footage that sounds like there's a bird in the background, unless, that's the intention. But, we want footage with clear audio and clear visuals. And again, it's kind of surprising how often this happens, where a reel has footage where it's not clear audio or clear visuals. And, I'm at fault of this too. Again, my very first acting reel, a lot of that footage was bad. Audio specifically was just bad. A lot of background noise, a lot of wind in the background, a lot of X, Y, and Z. So again, I'm also at fault for this, but hey, you live and you learn. And honestly, I'm kind of to take it to a personal note. When it comes to the bad visuals, this is something I just recently had to struggle with because I did a great scene in a recent film. Great, I liked it. I acted the shit out of it. When I got the footage, it was blurry. So I was so pissed that I couldn't use that footage. I did end up using another scene from that film later on where it wasn't blurry, it was actually good, but I'm kind of wish I could have used it, the one that turned out blurry, but you can't have blurry footage in an acting reel. The last tip I want to give is, when it comes to the scenes you're selecting, the footage you're selecting, make sure it's from your most recent and notable work. So if you did a film and you won Best Actor or Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, whatever, add that into your reel. If you did a project for like NBC or AMC, or if you work with like Scorsese, for example, I don't know, if you did a big project like that, add it in your reel. Now, this does come with a caveat. We don't put extra work on a reel. So if you happen to be an extra in Oppenheimer, because it's coming out soon, so let's use Oppenheimer or Barbie, since they're at war right now. But let's say you're an extra in Oppenheimer or Barbie, don't add that to your reel because you are an extra. You don't have a speaking part in that. Because also, extra work doesn't showcase who you are as an actor. It just says, okay, cool, you're in Oppenheimer, you're in Barbie, whatever. You want to put your most notable and your most recent work. And when it comes to recent work, for me, the average is 3 years. That's what I personally use and what I've seen other actors do. Just looking at several different reels upon reels upon reels, 3 years is the general average. And then one more thing, because I see a lot of people recommending this, and this is something that I understand why it's recommended. And if it's your first, and I only say this if it's your very first acting reel, I would approve of it. But anything past that, I highly disapprove of it. I hear a lot of people say that you should put scene work in an acting reel. So if you took a class, an acting class, and you guys did scenes and filmed it, you should put that in an acting reel. If you do a self-tape of a scene, you should put that in an acting reel. And for a first-time acting reel, sure, you could do it. But for me, I just don't think that's a good idea. And again, I understand the logic behind it. Oh, because you need to showcase who you are as an actor. And again, for a first-time acting reel, I think that makes sense. But for a second, third, fourth, fifth, etc., etc., etc. acting reel, by that point, at least by your second, you should have gotten parts. You should have been casted in at least 1, 2, maybe 3 projects by that point. Once you start getting casted in projects, I don't think you should be relying on those kinds of scenes anymore for an acting reel. So if it's your first one, yes, you could use it. You should use it, honestly, if it's your first one, because odds are you haven't done anything. But anything past that, I highly say you shouldn't do it. I just highly disagree with that notion. So yeah, I just kind of want to add that last note, because it's something I watched videos on acting reels. I watched, other tip videos like this, and it's just something that I saw a lot of people recommend, and I'm like, that's something I've always disagreed with. Again, I understand, first acting reel, sure. Anything past that, don't do it. It just looks unprofessional. I'm gonna be honest. As a producer, as a director, as a casting director, it just looks very unprofessional. We know it's a self-tape, especially if it's especially for actors who say, oh, I've been in the industry for X amount of years. I've worked on several projects, and then you have a self-tape scene work. It just seems very unprofessional. Again, first acting reel, fine. Anything past that, don't do it. Just hard stop, don't do it. So yes, that's basically it for now. These are all the tips I have for today. And yeah, tell me what you guys think. Do you guys have any more tips that you guys want to input down below? Go ahead, do it. Let's see what else we can share. And yeah, if you guys want to hear me discuss any other topics, go ahead. Comment that down below as well. That's basically it for now. This is Daniel Mart signing out.